Andrea Villneff here today, and today I am so excited because we are going to be making Huevos Rancheros Omelettes. One of my favorite recipes. Absolutely love it. We're going to dive right in. First things first, if you have long hair, tie it up in a ponytail or something, get it out of your face. Put on an apron if you need to, and the other thing is make sure that you wash your hands. 20 seconds, warm, soapy water, okay? And make sure to dry them afterwards. We're gonna jump right in. So the very first thing with the Huevos Rancheros Omelette, which I'm excited to get going on today, is we are going to be making a chili. So here we have our big pot going. I'm just gonna start heating it up. And right away, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually add in our extra lean ground beef, because that is the very first step, is that we're going to cook it. There we go. So that's in. And it's just going to start cooking. Just breaking it up a little in advance, of course, so that we get a little bit of beef in each bite instead of it cooking together in one big portion, right? Okay, so now that that's going, just a little bit about the dish today. So Huevos Rancheros Omelette is actually a little bit of a twist on a classic meal that is traditionally, traditionally served in Mexico. And it's kind of like a mid-morning, think of like a brunch, very hearty kind of brunch food. It features some refried beans. It also features tomatoes as well as eggs. So normally it does a sunny side up type egg. So the twist here is that we're actually using the eggs to make an omelet, which will kind of be the base of the entire dish. And then we are going to smother that omelet in some delicious chili that we're working on now with our lean ground beef and some other quick ingredients. And then we're gonna just dress it up with all those nice, delicious garnishes that we love to eat. Oh, and of course, sorry, I almost forgot, the refried beans, which are amazing, tasty, and full of nutrients. So that's a little bit more of a background on the dish we're making today. So the beef is just cooking away. It's still quite pink, so we know that it's definitely not done yet, right? So I'm just stirring this around. We're going to be starting off with making a chili, which is one of those very classic recipes that everybody needs to know. So basically, it can be whatever you want. You can be pretty creative with it. I would say that for chili, you want to include some sort of ground meat, or even that's up for debate. You could just put a ton of beans in if you really wanted to. And then what you want to do is have some sort of tomatoes in it. So what I have right here, we're going to putting some diced tomatoes in ours. And I think onions, pretty acceptable that you're going to put some onions in there. And then chili powder. I feel like that's one of the main things that you really do need to include to make it a chili. And then there's all the extra stuff, like you can put your onions, you could put green peppers, corn, like we're gonna do, definitely put a wide variety of beans. This is a super simple chili recipe, so we don't have beans in this one, because we're going to be using because we're actually going to be using a refried bean. But with that being said, traditionally you can definitely put beans right in with it, okay? So what I just wanted to give you guys a look at here is chili powder, right? It's a pre-mixed spice. And as I've been saying all along, basically spices are a great way to add so much flavor to your dish without adding extra calories or fat or any of that stuff. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of what actually is included in chili powder that we're gonna use today. Because sometimes you just don't happen to have the chili powder at home. But if you raid your parents' pantry, they might have all of the spices you need to make your own chili powder right at home. So I'll just show you guys a little bit of the plate here. Okay, so you see right here, I have all of the spices kind of outlined. So I'll just point out all of them. So right here, we have paprika. So that's pretty common in any chili seasoning. We have oregano. This is flaked onion, but you could also have just onion powder, anything like that. This is garlic powder. Garlic is used in so many different cuisines around the world. Probably one of the most popular seasonings, herbs, right? Like it's just so flavorful and most people are a fan of it. I'll say that. This is cayenne pepper. So this is the spice that actually adds that heat element. Don't just eat this on its own. That's that really hot spice, basically, what it comes down to. And I would recommend, once again, if you're cooking with it, start with 1/4 teaspoon and then like work your way up because it's just way too hot otherwise. Okay, guys? And then cumin, of course. Cumin is also, not only is it a very popular spice in Indian cuisine, it is also a very popular spice in Mexican cuisine. So you'll see this, that a wide variety of spices kind of recirculate, and that's part of global cooking, is that a lot of these spices blend from one culture to another, and they are used around the world. So yeah, that's a little bit about what goes into making chili powder. So I'll set this aside. There we go. So looking back at the beef, you can see that it's steaming and it's really going. So I'll give you guys a look, because it is fully cooked now. For this instance, we're not going to use the meat thermometer because the beef is fully cooked now already, and then we're going to add more ingredients and cook it for much longer, so we know without a doubt that this ground beef, by the time the chili's done, will be cooked 100%. Okay, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick little look into the pot. I don't know if you can... You know what? I think I'm gonna have to hold it up. That didn't quite work. Sometimes it doesn't. So you can kind of see, there we go. Like it's all cooked and ready to go. Okay, so I'm adding in the next ingredients, which is, I already have a diced onion right here going in the pot. Lots of flavor in those onions, right? We add in the onion, salt and pepper, both in the same bowl. Here we go. And this is 3 tablespoons of chili powder, which we just went over, all of the different spices that go into this, or you can just buy it pre-mixed at the store, which is what I did with that one right there. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit of how things are made, basically. Okay, so I'm just gonna stir that all up, and it just cooks for a second longer there to kind of get things going. But something that is absolutely fantastic about a chili is that it's a very forgiving dish. So basically what it comes down to is, I know that in the recipe text, it says to kind of wait 2 minutes, give the onions some time to cook. But really you can just add the other ingredients right away. It's fine. Chili is really one of those dishes where you want all of the ingredients to be in the pot together, playing together, and all of the flavors just come together. Chili is also another one of those fantastic recipes that are great as leftovers. It's really easy to freeze. So what you would do, put it into individual portion, freezer containers, and freeze it for up to 3 months. And you can just heat it up in the microwave or heat it up in a pot when you're ready to eat it. Even better, chili is amazing to have on hand because you can put it on top of so many different dishes. So I'm talking, for example, you can put it on top of a baked potato. You can put it on top of nachos. You can put it on top of, I love to make a taco salad and just put it right on top of the salad. So many different options, so many different ways to utilize this, and it's such a quick, easy dish. Even better, it's all in one pot. You cannot beat that. Now we're gonna stir in our tomatoes right here. Ooh. So basically, those were canned tomatoes, and I just drained the liquid from them. And that's just so that this chili is a bit thicker. And now, lastly, I'm gonna add in corn. This is frozen corn that I'm just adding in. And it's nice because that adds a little bit of a sweetness to it when everything else is kind of salty. So yeah, it's kind of a good combination. And I would like to take a moment to just highlight the fact that this is something that they really taught us when I went to school for nutrition, is that canned and frozen veggies can actually be just as healthy, and in some cases healthier than eating fresh vegetables. Okay, that might sound crazy, right? Okay, so what I just said is frozen and canned vegetables can be just as healthy and sometimes healthier than eating fresh vegetables, okay? So, and I'm not making a mistake here. So basically, the reason for this is because when veggies are frozen, they are picked and then they are frozen right away. So they are picked at their peak nutrient value when they're just ripe and they're perfect, and then they're frozen right away, preserving all of those nutrients right in there, right? And the same is with canning. It is going to be picked, and then as soon as it's canned at its peak ripeness, peak nutritional value. So the only thing is that I will highlight is that when you are buying canned vegetables, what you want to do is you want to make sure that they are packed in water and that there's no salt added. And that's how you make sure that they are just as healthy as if they were fresh. Even better is that frozen veggies as well as canned veggies last a lot longer. You don't have to worry about going grocery shopping and then them going bad, because sometimes that happens in a busy schedule, right? So it's kind of a nice way to get in veggies if you just have some frozen ones on hand. That's something that I do at home a ton, is I will use frozen veggies and kind of toss them into different dishes. It's a great way, especially easy to do with soups and that kind of thing. And stir fries, all of those things. Okay, so this chili is just cooking away. It looks fantastic. Here we go. I'll just kind of tip it over for you guys to see. Yum. Okay, so that's going. I'm actually going to toss it over here just so that I can save this burner so that I can show you guys how to make the omelet, basically. Okay? So we'll just come over here. Okay. So there we go. And I'm just going to turn the large front burner to medium. And then I will just bring over the chili, and it's out of our way. And that is just going to cook for a little while longer, okay? So basically what it comes down to is always, if you're not sure on timing, always make sure to go back to the recipe, whether you're following it online or whether you're following it right here on a printed out sheet. And what it does say is that for the chili, and you want to bring it to a simmer and cook for 10 minutes longer. So we'll do that. We're going to cook it for 10 minutes longer. And I will be periodically going over and stirring it, okay? So in the meantime, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how to make some refried beans, okay? So here we go. So we have our bowl. You can see it here. And then what I'm going to do is I am just grabbing, so I strained the beans already, and you can see them going in right there. And really, you can use almost any bean. I happen to know that white kidney beans, as well as navy beans, which are the other white beans, are grown locally within Canada. So that's why I do like to include them. When I strained out these beans, I reserved some of the liquid. So it's basically you strain it and you rinse off the beans. And then I reserved 2 tablespoons of that liquid because it's very flavorful. I'll put that back. And then we have a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, which I sprinkle on top. I'm just going to give it a stir. We microwave it, looking back at the recipe. So what we do is we microwave it for on high for 2 minutes. There we go. Okay, so I just give you this a little bit of a stir. Okay, so our beans are all mixed up, and we're gonna head on over to the microwave in the corner over there. And you can see that the chili is still cooking away. We have it right here. Oh my goodness, it's okay. There you go. You can see it a little bit. Okay. So since we're walking around, I'm just going to give it a quick stir. Make sure it's not burning to the bottom of the pan. That's what we're doing. Just giving it a quick stir. Okay. And now going over to the microwave here. And I'm just going to put the beans in. Here we go. For 2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes. Start. So I do like to utilize the microwave in my cooking methods. It just makes things easier most of the time. Every time that you can use the microwave, it just makes things faster and easier sometimes and a little less complicated. And I'm all about cooking and making things a little less complicated at the end of the day. Okay, so once those beans are done, we're going to actually blend them and pulse them, and it'll make a really smooth mixture. We'll do that for about 30 seconds. And once we do it for 30 seconds, that's done. You've made refried beans, so it's super, super easy to make it like that. And then, okay, so we'll get into that in a second. In the meantime, we are going to be moving over onto the eggs and the omelet. So I'm really excited to be working on the omelet with you guys here. So these are the eggs. There we go, very beautiful. Just a couple of tips about eggs. If the recipe does not specify, we were talking about getting large eggs. This is a size large egg. If you're grocery shopping, you'll see there are other sizes. Like sometimes you'll get a discount for like a medium sized egg or for an extra large sized egg. But most recipes are calling for a large egg, which is what you most typically will see at the grocery store. So these are all white eggs right here, but brown eggs that I normally alternate between using white and brown eggs. I'm just wondering out there, does anybody know the difference in nutrient value between brown and white eggs? Anybody? Anybody? There is no difference in nutrient value between white and brown eggs. They are both equally as nutritious. The difference in color just comes down to the color of the hen that laid it. So just so you know, a lot of people seem to think that brown eggs are healthier, but they're not. It's equal. All eggs are healthy and they taste great, and it's a really affordable way to get some more protein into your diet. So they're just fantastic that way. Okay, our beans are done. So we'll go on and grab those. Once again, stirring that chili. Here we go. Okay, grabbing the beans. There we go, the dish isn't too hot. Okay, so we have our beans. There we go. You haven't seen them yet, but they are steaming. They look good. And now we're gonna pulse them up. Easy peasy. We made a simple refried bean. Okay, so this is my food processor. And I will just show you guys. There we go. Perfect. So this is gonna get loud for just a second. Sorry, everybody. So we'll come over here. You can kind of see what I'm doing. Here we go. If you don't have a food processor, you can also do this in a blender. Or if you have anybody in your family who makes smoothies in the morning, you can use like one of those little bullets. Anything else, if you don't have any of those, you can do it by hand. Get out a fork and mash it with the fork or a potato masher, and that 100% works. It won't be quite as smooth, but it's a great way if you don't have the other tools, right? Woo. Oh, sorry. Doing this a little backwards, distracted talking to you guys. Okay, here we go. Here we go. beans stick to the side at all, you can always just kind of pulse it, and that will loosen anything up. But this blended really easily, so we're all right. You can see, very nice and smooth, right? Okay, perfect. So now we're moving on to making the omelet as promised. So we have our beans, we have our chili going away, and we are moving on to the omelet, okay? Okay, so we have our burner, and what I'm going to do is start off by cracking some eggs, okay? So before I get going with cracking the eggs, I did want to mention that this is 8 eggs. So it's a lot of eggs going into one bowl. If it's your first time cracking an egg, I do just want to mention that the safest way to crack eggs is to actually crack it into a little dish. So that way, if you get any shells in it or anything along those lines, you can pick them out before it's in the big bowl with everything else. Also, sometimes there can be just something that's that you do want to pick out. So it's just a good cautious way to make sure that the rest of the eggs don't have a ton of eggshells in them. Okay, so this is all about experience, and yeah, it's a good recipe for practicing cracking eggs if you haven't done a ton of it, because it's 8 eggs that you get to practice cracking into a bowl. Okay. So I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm going to crack right into this bowl instead of into the big bowl right away, just to show you guys. Just gonna point you guys down here. Here we go. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so I have my egg. I'll just set this slightly aside, and I'm cracking into the small bowl first. So hard wraps on a flat surface, and then you kind of want to put your fingers in to where the little hole you made, and you just, there you go. Okay, and then you either throw out the egg right away, and then you want to add this beautiful egg in. Sorry, it's kind of hard to get you to see that beautiful egg, and then we're going to add that to the big bowl. Okay, and we're going to do that 8 times. So pretty straightforward. Keep going. And I know a lot of people can kind of do tricks and that kind of thing. I have never kind of done my expertise in doing tricks in terms of even doing it one hand. But I know people definitely do work on that. Ooh, forgot to put it over. So eggs have so much like good protein in them that they're huge for that. And I think even better than that is that when you consider the fact that eggs are, if you are somebody who does not eat meat, eggs are a great way to get protein, vitamin B12, and a lot of those like key nutrients that you're not getting as much from plants into your diet. So eggs are great for anybody. You can have them any time of day. They're good in so many ways. Okay, so I'm gonna just get going a little bit with this. There we go. I'm not gonna do the double bowl anymore just because I wanna keep you guys going on everything. There we go. This is some speed cracking of eggs. I'm pretty confident in this because I've done it for a while in terms of cracking eggs. Okay. Yay, now we're on to the next part. So I'm just going to whisk this up. You can see my technique right here. It's kind of like you're going side to side more than anything. Side to side in a circular motion. And that's how you whisk quickly. And also, I'm kind of whisking this up, but what we're gonna add in is a little bit of flavoring. We're gonna add some salt and pepper, which I have right here. There's some salt and there's some pepper in there. That's going in. That's a 1/4 teaspoon of each. And then we have a tablespoon of water. Just kind of break everything up a little bit. So that's what we have going on. And while I'm whisking this up, I'm actually gonna point, you guys can see here, I have a nice little pan going. I'm going to add just a little bit of butter here into the pan. And that will kind of melt down. And that's what we're gonna cook the omelet in, okay? So in culinary school, eggs are considered to be a huge deal, mostly because they are a huge staple in every cuisine around the world. Because not only are they perfect to enjoy just on their own, they combine with so many other foods, and they're also very important in baking as well. So eggs are, and all across the board, an important food basically. And one of the signs of a good chef is being able to cook eggs well, because it's one of those things where it's just so simple. You learn how to do it well, you are a master. You have mastered that particular technique. And omelets is especially one of those techniques. So basically, when you're making an omelet, if you're following traditional French cooking, what you want to do is, the goal is to keep it at a low temperature. So I'm thinking you probably want to keep it, if you're over at the stovetop, you want to keep it on a level like probably 4, so pretty low actually, because the goal is to, at least in classical French cooking, to not get any kind of a crispiness at the end of the day, which is kind of weird. I personally like some crispiness on my eggs, so I don't care. I don't mind. But I just want to say that that's part of it. And I'm just finishing doing this. And I'll kind of point you guys down because we do have the butter is melting. And I'm just gonna put that all across here. There we go. So, and also I do want to note that your first omelet might not look perfect, and that's okay. Pretty much no one's ever does. It's kind of the same realm as pancakes and waffles. You're kind of just making sure that your stovetop is at the perfect temperature, but it'll still taste good. It's all I'm saying at the end of the day. Just make sure that you don't have it at too high of a heat, and it'll be okay. So for omelets, what you want to do is, I believe we're doing about, just referring back to the recipe again here, I think it's 1/4 of the egg mixture. Yeah, so we're going to do 1/4 of the egg mixture, and I'm going to pour that in here. Now, I'm going to try and put this down so that you guys can see what I'm doing again. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and then what you want to do is, if it's like, seems that like some liquid is going too much to one side, you can move this around. This thing is, it's not your typical stovetop, so it is a little off. So some of the egg is going to one side, so you can just move the pan around a little bit just to make sure that it's a little bit more evenly spread. That's pretty much how you work an omelet. There we go. And also, what you just saw me do, if you ever want to do scrambled eggs, basically what you would do is you would pour it in, and then I would start moving it around while the eggs are still wet. That's how you make scrambled eggs. So there you go. You get a 2 for 1. You know how to make scrambled eggs, and you also know how to make an omelet at the end of this. So that's perfect, right? Just so you guys know, a little bit of an update on the chili over there. I turned it off, so it is ready to go whenever we are ready to go. So we're really just finishing off the omelets right now. Okay. So I will show you guys this because it's kind of, yeah. It's cooler to kind of look up and see into it now. Okay, there we go. So you can see that it's kind of setting basically, right? Like the liquid is kind of going away and the edges are kind of drying up and pulling away from the edge of the non-stick pan. That's what we want. We want this to be a little bit more solid. And then we can flip it. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna edge around the outside here. Here, I think this is solid enough too that I can actually do this. So I will give you guys a front row look at this. Just 1 second. Not quite. There we go. Okay. So you see, liquid is almost gone. There's a little bit of liquid still there. So we might take a second longer, but you can see that I can lift it without breaking it, right? So we're just gonna go around the edge. You know what? I think this does need a second longer to cook, just because you can see right here we have some, oh, look though, it's sliding, right? It like wants to on its own. That's a good sign right there. So I'll just give that a 1 second longer. Also, if you're worried about breaking it, you can use a spatula to go around the edge, and then you get a bigger flat spatula to actually do the flipping, okay? So there we go. So they're delicate. If it breaks, don't worry, that's fine. You can put it back together. It'll taste the same, so no worries on that front, and then flip. There we go. And it only needs to do that for about a second, and then we are going to take it off and put it on to a plate. So it's that easy. That's how you make an omelet. And for this recipe, you're gonna repeat that 4 more times. So the omelet is done. I'm just gonna take it off and I'm going to put it onto a tortilla. Okay, so there we go. Yum, so tasty, so easy. Eggs are so delicious. One of the best foods, hands down. One of the most versatile foods, hands down. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside for just a second because we're gonna start building our food, but I just wanna touch on something before we do all of that. So I just have basically 2 examples right here of, I know everybody here pretty much knows that I am a huge advocate for all foods fit. So something that I did want to highlight is just how much protein beef actually does have. So if you take a look here, kind of have some little signs made up. So if you look here, we have, okay, so what I have right here, this is 60 grams of beef, which is 1 serving. And then in this 60 gram serving, you have 18 grams of protein and it's only 130 calories. So this just goes to show you that beef is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to providing your body with protein. This over here, and sorry, this is extra lean ground beef that's cooked up. There we go, 60 gram serving. And over here, I put hummus as an example. So 1 cup of hummus, which is, so basically to get 18 grams of protein out of hummus, you would need to eat a whole cup of it, this whole amount, to get the same amount of protein. And it would be, and this right here is also 380 calories. So touching on that, something that I do like to talk about is that all foods fit, all foods have their strengths and their weaknesses, right? So beef's strengths really come down to protein. You can get, for example, 18 grams of protein and just 130 calories, which is incredibly helpful when you are trying to stay healthy and not overeat. In addition, beef contains quite a bit of, it is actually pretty much the gold standard for heme iron. And heme iron is, it's found in beef and other animal products, but the highest amount is found in beef. It also pairs well with non-heme iron, and non-heme iron is the iron that they're talking about in plants. So whether that's spinach, whether that's beans, all of that stuff is called non-heme iron. So basically what happens is heme iron is the superstar because it is most used by our bodies. So the iron in beef is most readily used by our bodies to basically be used in our blood cells, and it helps take oxygen all the way around our bodies so that we stay happy and healthy. We can exercise and do all of those things. Something that is super, super interesting is that heme iron found in meat products like beef actually helps you increase the absorption of non-heme iron, like the non-heme iron that is found in beans, by 150%. So in other words, this is a food synergy. This is a perfect example of foods working together to help your body get more nutrients. So when I say all foods fit, I mean all foods have different advantages. And all foods, for example, beans, they have the non-heme iron that pairs well with beef and can be utilized well by the body when it's paired with other foods. Beans are another good example. They're incredibly high in fiber. They're incredibly high in folate. And these are all things that your body needs. So everything has a place. And I really challenge you to try a variety of foods and really figure out what you like. As always, you know that I'm all about trying new foods and figuring out at the end of the day what makes sense for you. Okay? Okay, so I stopped making more omelets because that was going to be a little bit more of a long process, and it's just me right now eating. So I'm going to pull in all of the elements now, and we're going to assemble our Huevos Rancheros Omelette. Super excited for this because it is just such a beautiful dish. Okay, so we have our beans, our refried beans, and center stage is going to be our tortilla, the egg on top, and absolutely now it's time to smother it with that delicious chili we just made. Okay, so just grabbing the chili over, you can see it. It looks so, so beautiful, very bright. Okay, I'll point you guys down so you can see it. Okay. Chili, lots of delicious proteins all working together. We have the whole grains in the tortilla. Use a whole, actually, sorry, that's a white tortilla. I normally have whole grain tortillas, but that's a white tortilla right there. And then I'm going to just, you know what? I totally forgot to put the beans on the bottom. I normally put the beans under the chili, but you know what? I will just kind of put it as a side here because it's so beautiful. There we go. So delicious. Here we go. So that's kind of the dish being put together. And then I have some other sides over here that are so delicious that you can just add on. Absolutely love all my little garnishes and everything. It adds so much flavor to any dish. Okay, so I'll point you guys down. So for example, I'm using a little bit of feta cheese, but you can use whatever you have on hand that you could consider. Think Mexican dishes and what you normally put on top of those Mexican dishes. And with that in mind, kind of build the plate that you want to see, okay? So I'm going to do a little bit of feta cheese here, but you can do regular cheddar cheese. There we go, kind of really pretty that way. And then I'm going to add a little bit of sour cream. There we go. A little bit of salsa. This is one of my favorite things. I love building this kind of dish. So much fun. You can definitely add on some cilantro. So I have some little bits of cilantro here. I'm just gonna kind of like chop it up really fast. I have a wet towel underneath this so that I know it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna have the claw so that my hands or my fingers and my thumb is out of the way. And you just kind of run your knife through it, right? And then we'll just run it through quickly, keeping the tip of the knife on the cutting board right there, okay? So we can kind of sprinkle that. Green onion is another great option, okay? Okay, and then you can also, I'm gonna like run through this, but you can do, so you can have some avocado on top. Also, this is a great dish. Make sure to serve it with a side of veggies if you want to add more. I love green snap peas. I love just cut up cucumber. All of those would be great options. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is your Huevos Rancheros Omelette. It's beautiful. I'm gonna actually take a bite right now so that and give it a quick try, making sure I get a little bit of everything in there. Don't make fun of me for if I take too big of a bite. I often do that. I am using a fork and knife because I'm eating in front of you guys, but the other option is that you can just wrap it up as well, okay? So good. Absolutely amazing. I'm gonna head off and enjoy my delicious lunch. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Bye, everybody.